Hi, thank you for joining me for my Monday devotion where I do a recap of Sunday's sermon. I hope you're doing well. I hope your weekend went well for you and pray that things are going well for you at the beginning and the start of this week. This past Sunday, we looked at the epistle reading, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. I looked specifically at verse 18, and that reads, "The message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." And it's true, a cross in itself is no big deal. A lot of people were crucified. Remember, even when Jesus Christ was crucified, there were two others there on crosses that day. We don't know anything about them. In fact, thankfully, one came to faith before he passed away. But a cross is just a way to execute criminals. That's all it really was. That's why to see the cross is a beautiful thing, which we do because it's the cross of Christ. But the cross itself is just not a whole lot good going on there where people are going to put to death. But the cross of Jesus is different, and we understand the difference. For people to say, well, all crosses are the same. What's the big deal? No, Jesus is where he died for us, laid down his life, was sacrificed for us to make us the people of God. And so we understand that while many people that first century were crucified by the Romans, there's something wonderfully different about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The cross of Jesus Christ is the place where he laid down his life and was sacrificed for us to make us the people of God, win for us full and complete forgiveness. So again, the idea of a cross is really nothing more than a first century electric chair. That's all it really is, a place to put low-life criminals to death. Jesus was considered a criminal by those who opposed him. He wasn't ever a criminal. We all know that, but that was the source of death his Father had laid out before him, that his Son would die on a tree. And so we understand that's why Jesus did that for us. We also looked at 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 25. "The foolishness of God is wiser than man's wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than man's strength." Now, there's no foolishness to God. How could the God who made all things have any aspect of foolishness? There's no weakness to God. How could the God who simply a blast from his nostrils parted the Red Sea, the Bible teaches us? So clearly God is powerful. But the implication of the verse, let's pretend for a second there were something foolish about God. It'd still be greater than mankind's brilliant wisdom. Let's pretend for a second something were weak about God. There's not, but let's for a second make a point that maybe something is weak about God. Even that weakness of God will be stronger than humanity's strength. Just because God is so much above us, greater than us. He's holy, we're not. We're sinful, he isn't. He created the universe. We simply dwell in the universe he made. So we know that God is beyond our comprehension, but also beyond us in greatness. That's why we give thanks and we believe in that God who has made us as his people. So again, it's just an opportunity to talk about how the concept of the cross, the idea of a cross, no big deal. People died on it and it wasn't a glorious way to go. But the cross of Christ is very different because that is where payment was made for our sins. We have full forgiveness through his blood, and we have made the people of God through that sacrifice. Just like everything else about God is different than humanity. The cross of Christ different than everybody else's. And we're thankful we know the truth and the power of the cross of Christ, how blessed we are. I pray you have a good week, and I pray you can maybe join us sometime down the road for worship. God bless. Bye-bye.